In this episode, we've decided to change things up a little bit. The Things You Didn't Know series is going into a couple more Zelda titles. We're going to keep it to mostly recent Zelda games, but still have a core focus on Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild. So buckle up, we're diving right back in. This seems to only happen in Breath of the Wild, but did you know that some Mokoblins can parry Link's Wind Cleaver Slash? Not even Gold Moblins can do that. Don't know about you, but that's pretty metal. In Echoes of Wisdom, some players still forget that, like in most Zelda games, it's possible to light your arrows on fire while in Sword Fighter form. In Breath of the Wild, during the Shrine Quest recital at the Warbler's Nest, you can find a young Nott in Rito Village singing a tune by herself. But you'd be surprised that to this day, the internet still doesn't know what song she's referring to. If you're a Wind Waker fan, you might recognize it, because it's the battle theme of the Helma Rock King. It's even referenced in what she says by the name of the tune, Return of the Bird Wrangling Hero. Breath of the Wild truly is the GOAT, still delivering secrets 7 years later. One change from Wild to Tears was how Stalnox interacted with parries. Before, when they threw their bones, the pieces would simply fall to the side, making parrying bones not worth it at all. They saw this and fixed it by smacking it right back into the Stalnox's eye as a critical hit, making it much more worthwhile now. Decubabas are obviously known for devouring their prey whole, but Nintendo did consider that if they ate something that you wanted an echo of, it'll check if you have that echo and spit it back out for you. We've previously covered the Rito's naming conventions and nomenclature in reference to birds a while ago in a previous episode, but I wanted to cover this topic again because there's a lot more to this across all of Hyrule that is hard to notice for anyone not playing in Japanese. Almost every NPC across both games is an anagrammed or rearranged Japanese word, but the categories of these names might surprise you, like with the Gerudo, who are named after beauty or cleaning products, such as Wasuku, referring to wax, Shushu, meaning hair scrunchie, or this trio of Pushan, Dishona, and Risun, referring to or anagram of shampoo, conditioner, and rinse, something you'd probably do in that order in the shower. Gorons are named after construction equipment, like Tokachin, which is rearranged Tonkachi, which means hammer, Gureda, altered from grader, a type of heavy road maintenance vehicle, and Naddon and Borudon, reference to nuts and bolts. Many more categories include areas we've covered before, like Sheikah referencing tropical fruits, Rito to grilled chicken, Zora, who are named after musical themes, and others like the Great Fairies, who reference tailoring equipment, General Hylians who reference plants, Hylians near stables who reference equestrian gear, Monster Control Crew Hylians which mostly reference carnivorous plants, Koroks who are named after nuts and seeds, and the newer Tears of the Kingdom Koroks which are named specifically after coffee beans. The list of all of these NPC names and their references are quite extensive, and some of them are quite hard to tell the references in other languages. So to see the whole list and all the names, you can check out Chubby Bub's doc listed below to see all the cool references that these Japanese names have. This naming format also carries over to Echoes of Wisdom, where the categories are mostly the same, except for Gorons who are now referenced to minerals, the river and sea Zora in reference to fish of their respective climates, and the Sheikah who are still named after fruits, such as Blueberry to Blueberry. Off that same note, Sheikah researchers specifically, unlike normal Sheikah civilians, are references to non-tropical basic fruits. Blueberry to Blueberry, like I said before, Robbie is Doberi, referencing a strawberry, and Pura is an anagram from apple, which is all too convenient if you think about it after Link gets something called the Pura Pad. In Blueberry's basement, you can also see a Zabuton-style floor cushion and a Sheikah desk lamp, referenced from the research camp in Kakariko Village in Tears of the Kingdom, and a strange Sheikah eye with arrows in it. This is referencing the same Kakariko gate in both games, but the protruding arrows only appear in Breath of the Wild's version. Maybe it has the same secret here. Guess not. Everyone knows that you can get 4 regular poses and some extra poses while holding ZL in camera mode, But most people forget that you can get some extra sneaky angles by staying in the neutral pose and waiting for Link to do his idle animation. Okay, maybe not the most flattering picture. Don't put that on the gram. Some people may have seen Pen's eyes in the art book, but have you seen them in-game before? Only in a very few select instances in the game where he's not busy doing something, he'll have a low chance of doing this rare idle animation, which shows off his beady little eyes as he rubs them. If you fuse a Flux Construct 3's core to a giant boomerang, then fuse it to something as it's flying back, it actually has enough mass and momentum to spin the fused item. You can use this to cause a little chaos in the ring, or even do some silly things like spin a fan and get an updraft without any zonai or electric power. Now, it's time for a dance-off. Nah, I'm kidding, this is actually an invisible horse. By scaring a horse with a cart and making it run into the stable, then timing your conversation with the stable owner while it despawns, then changing its equipment, you can now get an invisible mount. This can be fun on its own, but try equipping a tow harness and attaching any creation. Now you have your own little spooky friend. In Echoes of Wisdom, you only get to play as Link himself briefly in the intro. Well, glitch hunters a while ago found a way to permanently play as Link. By manipulating the void out timing by reading a signpost at the same time, you can load a file with Link from the prologue and bring him into your world, where he is fully playable. Unfortunately, he doesn't have the wisdom that Zelda has and is a little too stupid to solve any of the puzzles, but you can get through some portions of the game with him just fine. If you're into Greek or Roman mythology, you might have caught this already, but Minoru is a reference to Minerva, the Roman goddess of wisdom, justice, law, and victory. The thing that associates her with wisdom specifically though is her owl, and well, Minoru's mask has owl-like designs. This is cemented further by her construct concept art, which initially took on more of an owl shape. Well, if Minoru was a true owl, she would be able to fly, which she sort of can with a fused wing, but that's not really flying on her own. But by performing the gas glitch and having a powered fan on your back, you can take to the skies and truly fly wherever you want as Minoru. This feels like something that should have been in the base game. There's been many guides on how to defeat the deadly and tanky Lynel in Echoes of Wisdom. Attacking from all sides, using sword fighter form, placing obstructions. How about we dial it back and simplify it just a bit? Drop a big ass rock instead. How about them apples? Did you know in Breath of the Wild's Champions Ballad DLC, if you died or ran from the Blight refights at the Divine Beasts, that the game had a secret pity system in place for you? The game secretly sets flags to check if you've attempted to retry without beating them the last time. For the first 3 times if you fail, you get a fairy. And for the 6th attempt onwards, you get special elixirs and meals that specifically help counter that blight that you're fighting. Yona, the Zora, is more interesting than you think. For a long time, we kind of scratched our heads because her file name was listed as NPC Zora Fencer, even though she never carried any sort of weapon on her. Well, according to Nintendo, she originally was supposed to be a sword fighter, and in her concept art was shown to have some sort of EP or saber, and even had a katana concept. Apparently, the original design was planned for her to be a swordswoman, but in light of the marriage with Sidon, they designed her to blend more naturally as husband and wife side by side with him. Side note though, Nintendo's favorite part of Yona's design was her meow mouth. How very :3 of you. These secrets don't stop there though, Yona has even more. Zora names, like we stated before, are named after musical themes, and Yona is no exception. Dorephan, Mipha, Zora, Sidon are based off of solfege, Do Re Mi Fa Sol La Ti Do, but Yona and her 2 assistants are based off of something called Yona Nuki Onkai, which literally translates to without Yo and Na scale. Basically Japan's own musical scale before Western solfege influences arrived in Japan. Japan then transposed solfege as Hi, Fu, Mi, Yo, I, Mu, Na, Hi. But the Yonanuki scale, as the name says, only uses Hi, Fu, Mi and Imu, not Yo and Na. As you can see in the Japanese version of Tears of the Kingdom, Hifumi and Imu are the assistants to Yona, completing the Yona musical scale. On top of that, Yona's theme even uses this special scale, just like the previous Sidon and Mipha themes we've pointed out before. There you go, 21 more things you didn't know about the Zelda series. What was your favorite fact you learned this time? And let us know if you like this change up in the comments below. Thanks for watching.